The cathedral doors explode open. Rain hammers against marble as a bride in white silk tears down the aisle, mascara streaking her face like war paint. Behind her, a man in a $10,000 suit screams threats that echo off stained glass. She doesn't stop running. Outside, storm water floods the gutters. She throws herself into the first car she sees, a black sedan with windows dark as coffins. The driver turns, cold gray eyes, a scar along his jaw, and a voice like gravel. You just made a very dangerous choice. This is where everything changes. Stay until the end. Drop a like and comment your city so I can see how far this story travels. The silk wedding gown clings to Serafina Vale's ribs like a second skin, tight enough to remind her she can't breathe. The bodice digs into her sternum with every shallow inhale. Her grandmother's antique lace scratches against her collarbone, delicate as spiderwebs and just as suffocating. She stands at the altar inside St. Verena Cathedral, surrounded by 200 guests she doesn't know, staring at a man she's supposed to marry in less than 3 minutes. Adrian Mercer stands beside her in a charcoal suit tailored so perfectly it looks like armor. His jaw is sharp enough to cut glass. His smile is the kind that belongs on magazine covers. White teeth, easy confidence, the promise of wealth and security. Everything about him is polished. Everything about him is wrong. Serafina's hands shake. She grips the bouquet of white roses so hard the stems bite into her palms. She can feel the thorns through the ribbon. Good. Pain keeps her focused. Pain reminds her this is real. The officiant drones on about love and commitment. His voice echoes off the vaulted ceiling, bouncing between stone columns and stained glass windows that turn the storm outside into fractured rainbows. Thunder rumbles somewhere distant. The rain sounds like fists pounding against the roof. Adrian doesn't look at her. He looks past her, over her shoulder, toward the back of the cathedral where his attorney sits in the third row. The man is older, gray-haired, wearing rimless glasses that catch the light. He nods once. Adrian's smile widens. That's when Serafina hears it. Adrian leans slightly toward his best man, a stocky guy named Marcus with slicked back hair and a Rolex that could pay off her grandmother's medical bills twice over. Adrian's voice is low, barely a whisper, but Serafina has always had good ears. Her grandmother used to say she could hear trouble coming 3 blocks away. Offshore accounts are ready, Adrian murmurs. Once we're married, the property transfer is automatic. She signs over everything during the honeymoon. Legal won't see it coming. Marcus chuckles. And if she figures it out? She won't. Adrian's tone is flat, bored, like he's discussing stock options. Girls like her don't ask questions. They just want someone to save them. The bouquet slips from Serafina's fingers. White roses hit the marble floor with a sound like bones breaking. Every head in the cathedral turns toward her. Adrian's smile doesn't falter. He bends down, retrieves the bouquet, presses it back into her hands. His fingers are cold. Nervous? He asks, loud enough for the front row to hear. His voice is warm, concerned, fake. Serafina stares at him. At the man she's known for 6 months. The man who appeared in her life exactly 2 weeks after her grandmother died. When the medical debt collectors started calling. When the bank threatened foreclosure. When she was drowning in bills she couldn't pay and grief she couldn't process. He'd been kind, patient. He'd offered solutions. He'd offered marriage. She'd thought she was lucky. She'd thought wrong. If anyone objects to this union, the officiant says, his voice cutting through the silence, speak now or forever hold your peace. Serafina's mouth opens before her brain catches up. I object. The words come out louder than she intends. They ricochet off the stone walls, sharp and final. 200 people gasp in unison. Somewhere in the back, someone drops a program. The sound echoes like a gunshot. Adrian's hand clamps around her wrist. His grip is iron. His smile is gone. What did you just say? I said no. Serafina yanks her arm back. The lace sleeve tears. She doesn't care. I'm not doing this. Serafina. His voice drops to a hiss. Don't be stupid. I heard you. Her voice shakes, but she doesn't look away. Offshore accounts, property transfers, you don't want a wife, you want a signature. Adrian's face goes blank. Then something shifts behind his eyes, something cold and calculating. He takes a step toward her. You're confused, emotional. Let's talk about this privately. No. The word feels like stepping off a cliff. Adrian's attorney stands up in the third row. Marcus moves closer. Two other men in expensive suits rise from the pews, blocking the side exits. The air in the cathedral changes. It feels thicker, dangerous. You don't understand what you're doing, Adrian says quietly. His hand reaches for her again. You owe people money, Serafina. A lot of money. You think those debts disappear if you walk away from me? I'll figure it out. No. Adrian's smile returns, but it's different now, sharp. You won't, because those debts, I bought them. Every single one. The hospital bills, the mortgage, the credit cards. I own all of it, which means I own you. Serafina's stomach drops. You're lying. Am I? Adrian pulls a folded document from his jacket pocket. He opens it slowly, deliberately. This is a promissory note. Your signature. $23,000 in medical debt, purchased from St. Mercy Hospital 3 months ago. Want to see the others? Her knees almost buckle. She remembers signing forms in the hospital administrator's office. Endless stacks of paper while her grandmother was dying 2 floors up. She'd signed everything they put in front of her. She hadn't read any of it. If you don't marry me, Adrian continues, voice soft as a knife sliding between ribs, I'll call those debts due, immediately. You'll lose the house, your grandmother's things, everything, and I'll make sure no one in this city ever hires you again. The officiant looks between them, clearly panicking. Perhaps we should take a moment. We're fine, Adrian snaps. Then to Serafina. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to smile, you're going to say your vows, and we're going to finish this. Serafina looks at the rows of faces staring at her. Strangers, Adrian's friends, his family, people who came for champagne and salmon, not a scandal. She looks at the exits, all blocked by men in suits who aren't even pretending to be guests anymore. She looks at Adrian, and she understands with perfect clarity that if she marries him, she will disappear. Not physically. She'll still walk and talk and breathe. But the woman she is, the woman her grandmother raised, the woman who survived losing both parents at 16 and kept going anyway, that woman will be erased, replaced with whatever Adrian needs her to be. Her father's voice echoes in her head. A memory from childhood, back when he was still alive before the car accident that wasn't really an accident. He'd been teaching her to swim, and she'd panicked in the deep end, thrashing and sinking. He'd pulled her up, held her face in his hands. When you're drowning, kid, you've got 2 choices, fight or let go. Either way, you're going to have to move. Serafina grabs the skirt of her wedding dress with both hands, and she runs. She doesn't make it 3 steps before Adrian catches her. His hand fists in the lace train, yanking her backward. The fabric rips with a sound like tearing paper. She stumbles, catches herself on the altar rail, spins to face him. Let go of me. You're hysterical, Adrian says, loud enough for everyone to hear, playing to the crowd. Someone call a doctor. Serafina slams her elbow into his ribs. She learned that move in a self-defense class her grandmother insisted she take after moving to the city. Adrian gasps, releases her dress. She kicks off her heels and bolts. The cathedral erupts into chaos. Guests shout. Someone screams. Serafina hears Adrian yelling orders. Stop her! Lock the doors! But she's already moving, bare feet slapping against cold marble, ruined dress streaming behind her like a ghost. She hits the side door at full speed, crashes through into a narrow hallway lined with stone archways. Rain hammers against the windows. Thunder shakes the walls. She can hear footsteps behind her, heavy boots, multiple men, so she doesn't slow down. She bursts through another door, then another, until she's in the cathedral's east wing, surrounded by ancient wooden pews and flickering candles. A hand grabs her shoulder. Serafina screams, twists, swings her fist blindly. It connects with something solid. A man grunts, Marcus, Adrian's best man, and stumbles backward, clutching his jaw. She doesn't wait to see if he recovers. She runs again, deeper into the cathedral, through corridors she doesn't know, past rooms she's never seen. She finds a heavy wooden door half hidden behind a velvet curtain. She throws it open. Stone steps lead down into darkness. Basement, maybe, or storage. She doesn't care. She takes the steps 2 at a time, plunging into shadow. The stairs spiral down forever. Her lungs burn, her feet ache. The dress catches on something and tears again, the sound echoing in the stairwell. She hears voices above her, Adrian shouting her name, Marcus calling directions. But they're distant now, muffled by stone and distance. At the bottom, she finds another door, newer, metal. She slams into it with her shoulder, and it bursts open onto rain. She's outside, in an alley behind the cathedral. Water pours from the sky in sheets, turning the street into a river. The storm is worse than she thought. Wind whips her ruined dress around her legs. Lightning splits the sky. Serafina runs. She doesn't know where she's going. Away. Anywhere. Her feet splash through puddles. Her dress is soaked through, heavy as concrete. She can barely see through the rain. The city blurs around her. Streetlights, parked cars, empty storefronts. Everything is gray and cold and wet. She hears a car engine behind her. Headlights flood the alley. She risks a glance back. Black SUV, tinted windows, definitely Adrian's people. She turns a corner, sprinting now, ignoring the pain in her feet and the stitch in her side. The street opens onto a wider avenue. Hotels, restaurants, a few people huddled under awnings staring at her like she's a ghost. She must look insane, barefoot in a destroyed wedding dress, running through a storm like something out of a horror movie. The SUV turns the corner behind her. Serafina's legs are giving out. She can't run anymore. She's going to collapse right here in the middle of the street, and Adrian's men are going to drag her back to the cathedral, and this time there won't be any escape. Then she sees it. A black luxury sedan, idling outside the entrance to the Rothmore Hotel. Engine running, driver's side window cracked open. Someone waiting inside. Serafina doesn't think. She just moves. She wrenches open the rear door and throws herself into the back seat, gasping for air, soaked to the bone, shaking so hard her teeth chatter. For a long moment, no one speaks. Then the driver turns around. He's older than her, early 30s maybe. Dark hair, slightly too long. A scar cuts through his left eyebrow and continues down his cheek, pale against tanned skin. His eyes are gray, not blue-gray or silver, just gray, like winter clouds. He's wearing a black suit, no tie, top button undone. Everything about him is sharp angles and controlled stillness. He looks at Serafina the way a wolf looks at something wounded. "Please," she whispers. Water drips from her hair onto the leather seats. "Please, you have to get me out of here." The man doesn't blink. "Do I?" It's not a question. The SUV screeches to a stop outside. Doors slam. Men's voices shouting her name. "Please!" Serafina's voice breaks. "They're going to—" The man raises one hand, a small gesture, almost lazy. In the driver's seat, another man, younger, built like a linebacker, nods once and puts the car in gear. The sedan pulls away from the curb so smoothly, Serafina barely feels it move. She twists in her seat, looking out the rear window. Adrian's men stand in the rain, watching the car disappear. One of them pulls out a phone. "They're calling someone," Serafina says. Her voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. "They're calling their employer," the man says, "to tell him they lost you." Serafina turns back around. The man is still watching her with those flat gray eyes. No curiosity, no sympathy, just calculation. "Who are you?" she asks. "Someone you should probably be more afraid of than whoever you're running from." He leans back in his seat, perfectly relaxed. "But you're in my car now, so I suppose we'll both have to live with that decision." The sedan accelerates. The city blurs past the windows. Rain drums against the roof. Serafina realizes, with a clarity that cuts through the adrenaline and panic, that she has absolutely no idea what she's just done. The man pulls out his phone. He types something quickly, then makes a call. "Christoph? Change of plans. We're not going to the meeting." A pause. "Because I have a passenger." He glances at Serafina. "No. A complication." Another pause. "The estate. And make sure the West Wing is prepared." He ends the call. "What's your name?" he asks Serafina. She hesitates. Something in her gut says giving this man her name is dangerous, but staying silent feels more dangerous. "Serafina. Serafina Vale." Recognition flickers across his face, just for a second, then it's gone. "Lucien Devereaux," he says. Then to the driver, "Take the bridge. Avoid downtown." The name means nothing to Serafina. She's shivering now, hard enough that her whole body shakes. The adrenaline is wearing off. Everything hurts. Her feet are bleeding. Her dress is ruined. She left her phone at the cathedral, her wallet, her entire life. "Where are you taking me?" she asks. Somewhere your fiancé won't find you. Lucian's voice is flat, matter of fact. At least, not immediately. How do you know he's looking? Lucian looks at her like she's asked the stupidest question he's ever heard. You're barefoot in a wedding dress running through a storm, and you threw yourself into a stranger's car. Of course he's looking. Serafina wraps her arms around herself. She's so cold. You could have left me there. I could have, Lucian agrees, but I didn't. Why? He doesn't answer. Instead, he shrugs off his suit jacket and hands it to her. You're dripping on my seats. The jacket is warm from his body heat. Serafina pulls it around her shoulders. It smells like expensive cologne and something else. Smoke, maybe, or gunpowder. She's too cold to care. The sedan crosses a bridge. Below them, the river churns, dark and swollen with rain. The city falls away behind them. Ahead, the landscape shifts, less buildings, more trees. They're leaving the urban center, heading toward the outskirts where the old estates sit on sprawling properties behind iron gates. Who was he? Lucian asked suddenly. The man you ran from. His name is Adrian Mercer. Lucian's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in the air. The driver glances in the rearview mirror. And you were going to marry him, Lucian says. I thought... Serafina's throat closes. She forces the words out. I thought he was helping me. After my grandmother died, I had all these debts, and he offered to... She stops. It sounds so stupid now. He said he loved me. He lied. Yeah. Serafina laughs, and it comes out bitter. I figured that out. Do you know what Adrian Mercer actually does? Lucian asks. Serafina shakes her head. He said he works in finance. He works in money laundering, Lucian says. Construction contracts, political contributions, offshore real estate. The Mercer family has been cleaning dirty money for 3 generations. They've built half this city with blood money, and they've never been caught because they own the people who are supposed to catch them. Serafina stares at him. How do you know that? Because I've been trying to destroy them for 5 years. The sedan turns off the main road onto a narrow lane lined with oak trees. The headlights cut through the rain, illuminating a massive iron gate. The driver presses something on the dash and the gates swing open. Beyond them, a house rises out of the darkness. No, not a house. An estate. Stone walls, tall windows, columns and archways, and a facade that looks like it belongs in a European painting. The sedan pulls up to the entrance, where a woman in a severe black dress stands under an awning, holding an umbrella. Welcome home, Mr. Devereaux, she says as Lucian steps out of the car. Lucian circles around to Serafina's door and opens it. Come on. Serafina doesn't move. I don't know you. I don't know where I am. You can get out of the car, Lucian says quietly, or I can have my driver take you back to the cathedral. Your choice. Serafina looks at the estate, at the woman with the umbrella, at Lucian, standing in the rain like he doesn't even feel it. She gets out of the car. The woman, older, gray-haired with sharp eyes, hands the umbrella to Lucian and studies Serafina with obvious disapproval. Shall I prepare the guest suite? The West Wing, Lucian says, and bring dry clothes. Of course. The woman disappears inside. Lucian holds the umbrella over Serafina's head. Can you walk? Serafina looks down at her feet. They're cut up, bleeding, filthy, with street grime. I think so. Then walk. He doesn't offer to help her, doesn't take her arm or slow his pace. He just walks toward the entrance, and Serafina follows, limping across wet stone, leaving bloody footprints in her wake. Inside, the estate is all dark wood and expensive art. Chandeliers hang from vaulted ceilings. A grand staircase curves up to the second floor. Everything is elegant and cold and utterly silent. Lucian leads her through a series of hallways to a room in the West Wing. It's larger than her entire apartment. 4-poster bed, fireplace, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking gardens lost in shadow and rain. You'll stay here tonight, Lucian says. Tomorrow, we'll talk. About what? He looks at her for a long moment. About why Adrian Mercer wanted to marry you badly enough to buy your debts and forge legal documents. About what your parents knew before they died. And about whether you're willing to fight back, or if you'd rather spend the rest of your life running. Before Serafina can respond, he's gone. She stands alone in the too-big room, wearing a ruined wedding dress and a stranger's jacket, bleeding onto a Persian rug worth more than her grandmother's house. And she realizes, with the kind of clarity that only comes from hitting absolute rock bottom, that her life will never be the same. Outside, thunder rolls across the sky. The storm isn't over, it's just beginning. Serafina wakes up to silence. Not peaceful silence. The kind that presses against your eardrums like water at the bottom of a pool. She opens her eyes, and for 3 full seconds has no idea where she is. White ceiling, cream-colored walls, sunlight filtering through gauze curtains that probably cost more than her monthly rent used to. Then it all comes back. The cathedral. Adrian. Running. The man in the black sedan with eyes like winter. She sits up too fast. Her head spins. The room tilts sideways before righting itself. She's wearing clothes that aren't hers. Soft gray sweatpants and a white t-shirt that hangs loose on her frame. Someone changed her while she was unconscious. The thought makes her skin crawl, but when she looks down at her hands, she sees her fingernails are clean. No more blood. Her feet are bandaged, white gauze wrapped around both heels and across her toes. On the nightstand sits a glass of water and 2 white pills in a small ceramic dish. No note, no explanation. She doesn't take them. The wedding dress is gone. So is Lucien's jacket. The room is spotless, like last night never happened, like she imagined the whole thing. Except her body tells a different story. Every muscle aches. Her ribs hurt where the wedding dress dug in. Her throat is raw from screaming. When she touches her face, she can feel the ghost of dried tears tight against her skin. She stands. The floor is cold marble. Her bandaged feet make soft shuffling sounds as she crosses to the window and pulls back the curtain. The estate sprawls below her. Manicured gardens, a stone fountain in the center of a circular driveway. Beyond that, woods, thick and dark and endless. No neighbors, no other houses. Just trees and distance and the kind of isolation that feels deliberate. There's a knock at the door. Serafina spins around. Who is it? Breakfast, a woman's voice says. Clipped, professional, the same woman from last night. I'm not hungry. Mr. Devereaux requests your presence in the dining room in 20 minutes. Requests. Right. Serafina looks around the room. No phone, no laptop. The windows don't open. She already tried in the 2 seconds before the knock. She's trapped in a gilded cage, and the only way out is through a man she doesn't know and probably shouldn't trust. Fine, she says. 20 minutes. Footsteps retreat down the hallway. Serafina finds a bathroom attached to the bedroom. It's bigger than her grandmother's kitchen used to be. Marble counters, a shower with 6 different heads, towels so soft they feel obscene. She washes her face, brushes her teeth with a new toothbrush someone left on the counter, and tries not to think about how much surveillance it takes to know someone needs a toothbrush before they ask for one. In the closet, she finds clothes. Women's clothes. Jeans in her exact size, 3 different sweaters, boots that fit her feet perfectly despite the bandages. She pulls on jeans and a black sweater, then sits on the edge of the bed and tries to slow her breathing. Her grandmother's voice echoes in her head. When you don't know the game, kiddo, don't pretend you do. Watch. Listen. And don't trust anyone who's too helpful. Serafina stands. Time to see what Lucien Devereaux actually wants. She finds the dining room by following the smell of coffee. The hallway outside her room leads to a staircase, which leads to another hallway, which opens onto a massive room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the gardens. A long table stretches down the center. Enough chairs for 20 people. Only one is occupied. Lucien sits at the head of the table reading a newspaper. He's wearing dark slacks and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. No jacket. No tie. He doesn't look up when she enters. Sit, he says. Serafina doesn't move. Where's my dress? Burned. You had no right. It was covered in blood and filth. Lucien turns a page, still doesn't look at her. Would you like me to apologize for basic hygiene? Serafina's jaw clenches. She pulls out the chair farthest from him and sits. The table is set with food she didn't ask for. Fresh fruit, pastries, eggs that are still steaming, coffee in a silver carafe. I didn't order this, she says. I know. Lucien finally looks up. Those gray eyes pin her in place. You didn't take the painkillers either. How did you? She stops. Cameras. Of course there are cameras. You're watching me. I'm protecting you. He sets down the newspaper. There's a difference. Protecting me from what? Adrian Mercer filed a missing persons report at 6 this morning. He told the police you had a psychotic break during the wedding and ran into traffic. He's claiming you're a danger to yourself and others. He's also hired a private security firm to find you. 4 men, former military. They're very good at their job. Serafina's stomach drops. He can't do that. He already did. Lucien pours himself coffee. Doesn't offer her any. Your face is on every news station in the city. Runaway bride suffers mental breakdown. The story is already viral. That's not... Serafina's hands shake. She flattens them on the table. I'm not crazy. I know. Then why aren't you helping me go to the police? Lucien's laugh is as short and sharp. Because the police chief plays golf with Adrian's father every Sunday. Because the district attorney owes the Mercer family 3 campaign contributions. Because if you walk into a police station, you'll be in Adrian's custody within the hour, and this time there won't be a convenient car to jump into. Serafina stares at him. So what am I supposed to do? You're supposed to eat breakfast, Lucien says, and then you're going to tell me why Adrian Mercer was willing to forge documents and buy your debts just to marry you. I already told you, I don't know. Yes, you do. Lucien leans back in his chair. You just don't want to believe it. Serafina's throat tightens. She reaches for the coffee carafe, pours herself a cup with shaking hands. The ceramic is warm against her palms. She takes a sip. It's perfect, dark and bitter, and exactly what she needs. My parents died when I was 16, she says finally. Car accident. Brake failure on a mountain road. They went over the side. Both of them died on impact. Lucien doesn't react, just watches her. My grandmother took me in. She raised me, put me through college, and then she got sick and the medical bills just kept coming, and I couldn't... Serafina's voice cracks. She swallows hard. I couldn't save her. She died 6 months ago. And Adrian appeared 2 weeks later. Yes. Serafina looks down at her coffee. He was kind. He listened. He offered to help with the debts. It felt like someone finally gave a damn. People like Adrian don't give a damn, Lucien says flatly. They give opportunities, and they make you pay for them later. I know that now. Do you? Lucien stands. He walks to the window, hands in his pockets, staring out at the gardens. Tell me about your parents. What did they do for a living? Serafina frowns. My dad was a civil engineer. My mom was an accountant. Why does that matter? Who did they work for? Different firms. My dad did municipal contracts, infrastructure projects. My mom worked for a corporate consulting group. Did they ever mention the Mercer family? Serafina opens her mouth to say no, then stops. A memory surfaces, hazy, half forgotten. She was 14, maybe 15, her parents arguing in the kitchen late at night, her father's voice low and furious. We can't just sit on this, Ellen. People are dying. And her mother's response, tight with fear. If we go public, we're dead. You know what these people do. I don't know, Serafina says slowly. Maybe. They argued a lot toward the end. My dad wanted to report something. My mom was scared. Report what? I never found out. They died 3 months later. Lucien turns from the window. Your parents uncovered something bad enough that the Mercers had them killed, and Adrian married you to find out what they knew and where they hid it. That's insane. Is it? Lucien crosses back to the table. He pulls a folder from beneath the newspaper and slides it toward her. Read. Serafina opens the folder. Inside are photographs, documents, newspaper clippings. The first photo shows her father standing outside a construction site, hard hat in hand, talking to another man. The other man's face is circled in red ink. Who is that? Serafina asks. Thomas Mercer, Adrian's uncle. He ran the family's construction division until he was indicted for bribery in 2009. The charges were dropped after 3 witnesses recanted their testimony. One of them disappeared. The other 2 died in separate accidents within 6 months. Serafina's hands go numb. She flips through more photos. her mother outside a corporate office building, her father in a suit, shaking hands with a man identified as City Councilman Robert Vance, convicted 2011, corruption. More names, more faces, all connected by red lines drawn in marker. Your father's engineering firm won contracts to build housing developments, Lucien says. Except the developments were never finished. The city paid millions. The Mercers pocketed the money. Your father found discrepancies in the invoices, fake permits, forged safety inspections. He started documenting everything. How do you know this? Because I've been investigating the Mercers for 5 years, Lucien says, and your father's name kept appearing in records I couldn't access. Sealed court documents, witness lists that were redacted. I knew someone had evidence. I just didn't know who. Serafina looks up at him. If you knew all this, why didn't you stop Adrian from marrying me? Because I didn't know Adrian was planning to marry you until last night. Bullshit. Serafina slams the folder shut. You knew my name. You recognized me. Lucian's expression doesn't change. I recognized your last name. Vale isn't common. I'd seen it in the files, but I didn't know you existed until you threw yourself into my car. Then why help me? Because the enemy of my enemy is useful. Lucien sits down across from her. And because you're the only person alive who might know where your parents hid the evidence. Serafina's laugh comes out bitter. I don't know where anything is. I was 16 when they died. I didn't even clean out their house. My grandmother did all of that. Where are their belongings now? Storage unit, across town. I couldn't afford to keep paying rent on it, so She stops. Her stomach turns over. I gave Adrian the key 3 months ago. He said he'd help me sort through everything. Lucien's jaw tightens. And you haven't been back since? No. Then it's already gone. Lucien stands. He took whatever was there, which means we need to figure out what he found and what he's still looking for. We? Serafina stands too. There is no we. You don't get to decide what I do. You're right. Lucian's voice is flat, cold. You can leave anytime you want. Walk out that door. Call the police. Throw yourself on Adrian's mercy. See how that works out for you. Or I can stay here and be your prisoner instead. You're not a prisoner. Then give me my phone. Let me call someone. Who? Lucien asks. Who are you going to call, Serafina? You have no family. Adrian made sure you isolated yourself from your friends. Your bank accounts are frozen. Your credit cards are maxed. You have nothing and no one. The words hit like a fist to the gut because they're true. Serafina thinks about her life before Adrian. The friends she stopped seeing because he said they were a bad influence. The job she quit because he said he'd take care of her. The apartment she gave up because he said they'd live together after the wedding. She gave him everything, and he took it all. So what do you want from me? She asks quietly. I want you to help me destroy the Mercer family, Lucien says. Completely. No half measures. No plea deals. I want every corrupt official they've bought, every illegal contract they've signed, every body they've buried, all of it exposed. And I think you're the key to making that happen. Why? Because my parents found something 10 years ago? Because you're the only leverage I have. Lucien steps closer. Not threatening. Just close enough that she has to look up to meet his eyes. Adrian is obsessed with you. He's not going to stop looking. And when he finds you, he's going to use you to tie up every loose end his family left behind, unless we move first. Serafina's heart is pounding. And if I say no, then I'll have my driver take you back to the city, drop you off wherever you want. And you can take your chances. She wants to call his bluff, wants to believe he's lying, but the look in his eyes tells her he's not. He'll let her go. He'll watch her walk straight back into Adrian's trap, and he won't lose a second of sleep over it. I need time to think, Serafina says. You have until tonight. Lucien walks to the door. And Serafina, if you try to leave this estate without my permission, my security will stop you. Not because you're a prisoner, but because there are 4 men with guns currently searching every hotel, shelter, and bus station in the city, looking for a barefoot girl in a wedding dress. You're safer here than anywhere else. He leaves. Serafina stands alone in the dining room, surrounded by food she can't eat and windows that overlook a world she can't reach. She walks back to her room, sits on the bed, stares at the wall. Her phone is gone. Her life is gone. The only thing she has left is a choice between 2 men who both want to use her for something. Adrian, who wants to marry her to bury the truth. Lucien, who wants to use her to dig it up. She thinks about her parents, the arguments, the fear in her mother's voice, the way her father looked the last time she saw him alive, exhausted, like he'd been fighting a battle he knew he couldn't win. They tried to expose the Mercers, and they died for it. What makes Serafina think she'll survive doing the same thing? The hours crawl past. No one comes to check on her. No one brings lunch. The estate is silent except for the occasional creak of old wood settling. Serafina tries the window again. Still locked. She tries the door. Unlocked, but when she steps into the hallway, she hears footsteps somewhere below. Guards or staff. Either way, she's not getting out unnoticed. She goes back inside, sits on the floor with her back against the bed, closes her eyes, and remembers. Her father teaching her to ride a bike. Her mother braiding her hair before school. Sunday mornings in their tiny kitchen, pancakes and orange juice, and her parents arguing over the newspaper like it was a sport. Normal things, safe things, before the arguments got serious, before the fear moved into their house like a third parent, before the car went over the cliff and took everything good with it. Serafina opens her eyes. She's been running her whole life, from grief, from responsibility, from the truth about what really happened to her parents. She let her grandmother handle everything because it was easier. She let Adrian swoop in and play hero because it was easier. She spent 10 years being easy, and look where it got her. Trapped in a stranger's house, hunted by a man who was never going to love her, alone. The sun is setting when the knock comes. "Mr. Devereaux requests your presence in his study," the woman's voice says through the door. Serafina stands, smooths her sweater, breathes. "I'm coming." The study is on the first floor, down a hallway lined with portraits of stern-looking men in old-fashioned suits. The woman, Serafina still doesn't know her name, opens a heavy oak door and gestures her inside. The room is all dark wood and leather, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a massive desk, a fireplace with a fire already burning. Lucien. Yen stands in front of the fire, holding a glass of amber liquid. He doesn't turn when she enters. "Close the door," he says. Serafina does. The latch clicks. "I've been thinking about your offer," she says. "It's not an offer, it's a reality." "Fine, your reality." She steps closer. "If I help you, what happens to me after?" "After what?" "After you destroy the Mercers. After you get whatever evidence you need. What happens to me?" Lucien finally turns. His face is unreadable. "You disappear. New identity. New city. Enough money to start over. You'll never see Adrian again." "And you? What about me? Do I ever see you again?" Something flickers across his face, too fast to read. "No." "Why not?" "Because people who know me don't live long, happy lives." He takes a sip of his drink. "I'm giving you a way out, Serafina. Don't mistake that for friendship." She should be relieved, should be grateful. Instead, she feels something twist in her chest. Anger, maybe, or disappointment. "What if I don't want to disappear?" she asks. "Then you're an idiot." "Or maybe I'm tired of running." Serafina crosses her arms. "You said Adrian's obsessed with me, that he won't stop looking. So let's use that." Lucien's eyes narrow. "What are you suggesting?" "I let him find me. I play along. Get close enough to figure out what he knows and what he's still searching for. Then I bring it to you." "No." "Why not?" "Because he'll kill you the second you're no longer useful. Not if he thinks I still have value." Serafina's heart is pounding, but her voice stays steady. "You said it yourself. I'm leverage. So let's use me. You have no training, no experience. You don't even know what you're looking for. Then teach me." Lucien stares at her for a long moment. Then he laughs. It's not a kind sound. "You think this is a game. You think you can walk back into Adrian's life and play spy. You have no idea what these people are capable of. They killed my parents, and they'll kill you too." "Maybe." Serafina steps closer. Close enough to see the scar on his face in detail. It's old, badly healed. "But at least I'll go down fighting instead of hiding. Bravery and stupidity look the same from a distance. So which one am I?" Lucien's jaw tightens. He sets down his glass. "If you do this, there's no turning back. No changing your mind halfway through. You'll be in the middle of a war and people will die. Maybe you. Probably people you care about. And when it's over, you won't be the same person you are now. Good, Serafina says, because I hate who I am now. The fire crackles. Outside, night has fallen. The estate is dark except for the glow from the windows. Lucian studies her like she's an equation he can't solve. You'll do exactly what I say. When I say it, no improvising, no heroics. Fine. If Adrian suspects anything, you pull out immediately. Okay? And if I tell you to run, you run. No arguments. Deal. Lucian extends his hand. Serafina takes it. His grip is firm, cold. The handshake lasts exactly 2 seconds. Then he releases her and steps back. We start tomorrow, he says. Tonight you rest, eat, get your strength back. What happens tomorrow? Tomorrow, we make you disappear just long enough to make Adrian desperate. Lucian walks to his desk and pulls out a laptop. And then we let him find you exactly where we want him to. Serafina's mouth goes dry. Where? Lucian opens the laptop, pulls up a series of photographs. They show a building, old, industrial, on the outskirts of the city. Broken windows, graffiti-covered walls. Your parents' storage unit, he says. Adrian cleaned it out 3 months ago, but he didn't find everything. How do you know? Because I had someone watching the unit. They saw what Adrian took. Boxes of old files, photo albums, your mother's jewelry. But they also saw what he left behind. He clicks to another photo. This one shows the inside of a storage unit. Empty except for one thing, a metal filing cabinet pushed against the back wall. Your father was an engineer, Lucian says. He built things, including a false bottom in that cabinet. Adrian's people never found it. Serafina's breath catches. What's inside? I don't know. I haven't opened it. I was waiting for the right moment. Lucian looks at her. And for the right person. You want me to go there? With you. Tomorrow night, after dark. We go in, we get what's inside, and we leave. Fast. And if Adrian's watching the unit? He is. Which is why we're going to make sure he sees you. Lucien closes the laptop. You're going to walk in alone, unarmed, looking for answers, and when Adrian's men grab you, you're going to let them. Serafina's heart stops. What? They'll take you to Adrian. He'll think he's won. He'll let his guard down, and that's when you'll get him to tell you everything. And if he doesn't let his guard down? If he just kills me? He won't. Lucian's voice is certain. Because he needs you. He needs whatever your father hid, and he thinks you're the only person who can lead him to it. So he'll keep you alive. At least long enough for us to get what we need. Serafina's legs feel weak. She sits down hard in one of the leather chairs. This is insane. Yes. I could die. Yes. And you're okay with that? Lucien pours himself another drink. No, but I'm willing to accept the risk if you are. Serafina looks at the fire. The flames twist and curl, devouring wood, leaving nothing but ash. She thinks about her parents, about her grandmother, about every person the Mercers have destroyed. She thinks about Adrian's smile, the way he looked at her like she was property. She thinks about the woman she's been for the last 10 years, small, scared, easy to break, and she decides she's done being that woman. I'm in, she says. Lucien nods. Then we have 24 hours to prepare. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be a very long day. Serafina stands to leave. She's almost at the door when Lucien speaks again. Serafina, she turns. If this goes wrong, he says quietly, if Adrian figures out what you're doing, I won't be able to save you. Do you understand that? Yes? And you're still willing to do this? It's not a question, but Serafina answers anyway. Someone has to. She leaves the study, walks back to her room, sits on the bed and stares at the ceiling until her eyes burn and her breathing evens out. Somewhere in the city, Adrian Mercer is searching for her. Tomorrow night, she's going to let him find her, and then she's going to burn his entire world to the ground. The 24 hours pass like a countdown to execution. Serafina spends the morning in Lucien's study, memorizing floor plans of the storage facility. Exits, security cameras, blind spots. Lucien's voice is clinical as he walks her through each detail, pointing to blueprints spread across his desk like battle maps. His finger traces a route from the main entrance to Unit 247, where her parents' filing cabinet waits in the dark. You'll have approximately 90 seconds from the time you enter the building until Adrian's men reach you, Lucian says. Maybe less if they're already inside. What do I do when they grab me? Don't fight. Don't run. Act terrified, confused. Tell them you came looking for your parents' things because you don't know where else to go. Lucian taps the blueprint. Make them believe you're broken. Serafina looks at the map. The storage unit is in a converted warehouse district, surrounded by abandoned factories and empty lots. No witnesses. No help. Just concrete and shadows, and men with guns. What if they just shoot me? She asks. They won't. Not until Adrian gives the order, and he won't give that order until he's certain you can't lead him to the evidence. Lucian straightens. But if I'm wrong, if they pull a weapon, you scream, loud as you can. I'll have people positioned 3 blocks out. They'll move fast. 3 blocks? Serafina laughs, and it sounds hollow. That's not close enough. It's as close as I can get without tipping Adrian off. Lucian's jaw tightens. This only works if he thinks you came alone. If he suspects a trap, he'll disappear, and we'll lose our only chance. Serafina stares at the blueprint until the lines blur together. How do you know he'll even be there? Because Adrian doesn't delegate when it comes to loose ends. He'll want to see your face when you realize you've lost. Lucien's voice drops. Men like him need the control, the power. He'll be there. The afternoon stretches on. Lucien's staff brings food she doesn't eat, water she forces down. At some point, the woman in the black dress, Marguerite, Serafina finally learns, appears with a new outfit, dark jeans, black jacket, boots with soft soles. For tonight, Marguerite says. No emotion in her voice, just efficiency. Serafina changes, looks at herself in the mirror. She looks like someone preparing to disappear, which, she supposes, is exactly what she's doing, one way or another. By the time the sun sets, her nerves are frayed to nothing. She sits in her room, watching darkness swallow the gardens outside her window, and tries to remember what her father's voice sounded like. She can't. It's been too long. The memory is worn smooth, like a stone rubbed too many times. The knock comes at 8. It's time, Lucian says from the hallway. Serafina opens the door. Lucien is dressed in all black. Tactical gear, she realizes. Vest, holster. He looks like someone going to war. You're coming with me? She asks. To the perimeter, not inside. He hands her a small device. It looks like a hearing aid. Earpiece, 2-way audio. I'll be able to hear everything. If you need to abort, say the word cathedral. I'll pull you out. Serafina fits the earpiece into her left ear. It's tiny, invisible. And if I can't talk? Then don't get caught in a situation where you can't talk. Not reassuring. But nothing about this is. They take a different car, a nondescript sedan, dark blue, with plates that probably aren't registered to anyone real. The driver is the same man from 2 nights ago. He doesn't speak, doesn't look at Serafina, just drives. The city slides past the windows, streetlights, traffic, people living normal lives, heading home from work, unaware that in a warehouse across town, something is about to break open. Lucian sits beside her in the back seat, silent. His hand rests on his knee, fingers drumming a slow rhythm. It's the first nervous gesture she's seen from him. You don't have to do this, he says suddenly. Serafina turns. Yes, I do. No, you don't. I can find another way. How long have you been looking for another way? Lucian doesn't answer. That's what I thought. Serafina looks back out the window. This is the only way. You know it. I know it. So let's stop pretending it's anything else. They drive in silence for another 10 minutes. The neighborhoods change, buildings get older, streets get darker. Fewer cars, fewer lights. The warehouse district looms ahead, a sprawl of forgotten industry slowly being reclaimed by rust and weeds. The driver pulls over 3 blocks from the storage facility, kills the engine. This is as far as we go, Lucien says. He opens the door, steps out. Serafina follows. The night air is cold, smells like oil and wet concrete. In the distance, a dog barks. Closer, something metal rattles in the wind. Lucien leads her to the corner of a building, points down the street. 2 blocks. Straight line. The facility is the red brick building with the roll-up doors. Unit 247 is on the second floor. Stairs are on the east side. Serafina's mouth is dry. Her heart pounds so hard she can feel it in her throat. Okay. Remember, 90 seconds. Don't open the filing cabinet. Don't touch anything. Just let them take you. I know. Lucien looks at her. Really looks at her, like he's memorizing her face. If this goes wrong, it won't. If it does, he continues, voice hard, and you die because I sent you in there, that's on me, not you. Understand? Serafina nods. She doesn't trust her voice. Lucien reaches into his jacket, pulls out a knife. Small. Folding blade. He presses it into her hand. Hide this. Don't use it unless you have no other choice, and if you use it, go for the throat. Anything else just makes them angry. Serafina slips the knife into her boot. The weight of it is cold against her ankle. Test the earpiece, Lucien says. Can you hear me? Serafina whispers. Lucien taps his own ear. Perfectly. Now go. She walks. 2 blocks feels like 2 miles. Every shadow could be a man with a gun. Every sound could be footsteps. She keeps her pace steady. Not running, not sneaking, just a woman walking down a street at night looking for something she lost. The storage facility appears on her left. Red brick. Exactly like Lucien described. The front entrance is a metal door chained shut, but beside it, a window sits half open. Someone's been here recently. Serafina climbs through the window, drops into darkness. The smell hits her first. Mildew, dust, something else. Old paper, maybe? Or decay. She pulls out her phone, the burner Lucien gave her, and turns on the flashlight. The beam cuts through the dark, illuminating rows of storage units, metal doors with padlocks, numbers spray-painted on concrete. She finds the stairs, starts climbing. Second floor. The hallway stretches ahead, lined with more units. Serafina counts as she walks. 239, 241, 243, to 245, 247. The padlock is missing. The door is already open, just a crack. Serafina's stomach twists. This is wrong. Lucien said the unit would be locked. Said Adrian cleaned it out months ago and left. She pushes the door open anyway. The unit is small, maybe 10 feet by 10. Empty except for the filing cabinet against the back wall, exactly where Lucien's photo showed it. The cabinet is olive green. 4 drawers. Old military surplus probably. Serafina crosses to it. Kneels. Runs her hand along the bottom edge, searching for the latch Lucien described. Her fingers find it. A small metal tab recessed into the frame. She presses. Something clicks. The bottom drawer springs open half an inch. Serafina pulls it the rest of the way. Inside, a false bottom lifts out easily. And beneath it, files. Dozens of them. Photographs. Ledgers with handwritten notes. A USB drive taped to the inside of the drawer. Her father's handwriting covers the labels. Mercer Construction. Fraud evidence. City contracts. Falsified permits. Thomas Mercer. Witness statements. Serafina's breath catches. This is it. This is what her parents died protecting. Touching, isn't it? The voice comes from behind her. Serafina spins, her phone's flashlight beam swings wild, catching a figure in the doorway. Adrian. He's wearing a dark suit, no tie. His hands are in his pockets. He looks relaxed, amused, like he's been waiting for this exact moment. Hello, Serafina, he says. I've been looking for you. Serafina's hand moves toward her boot, toward the knife. I wouldn't. Adrian doesn't move, but 2 men step out of the shadows behind him, both holding guns, both pointed at her. Serafina freezes. Smart girl. Adrian steps into the unit. The door swings shut behind him. Now, let's talk. In her ear, Lucien's voice crackles. Don't engage, just let them take you. Serafina stands slowly, keeps her hands visible. How did you know I'd be here? Because you're predictable. Adrian walks to the filing cabinet, looks down at the open drawer. You always were. That's what I liked about you. So easy to read. So desperate to believe someone cared. You were tracking me. Of course I was tracking you. Adrian pulls out one of the files, flips through it without looking at the pages. Did you really think I'd let you run off with Lucien Devereaux and not keep tabs? I've had people watching his estate since the night you disappeared. I knew the second you left. Serafina's blood turns to ice. You've known where I was this whole time? Not just where, I've known everything. Adrian smiles. I know about Lucien's little plan to use you as bait. I know about the earpiece you're wearing right now, and I know Lucien is listening to every word of this conversation. In her ear, silence. Then Lucien's voice, low and dangerous. Get out. Now. Adrian's smile widens. He's panicking, isn't he? Telling you to run? But here's the thing, Serafina. You're not going anywhere. Because if you move, my men shoot you. And if Lucien's people try to storm this building, my men shoot you. So really, the only question is how long you stay alive, and that depends entirely on how useful you are. I don't know anything. Liar. Adrian drops the file back into the drawer. Your father built this hiding spot. Your mother filled it with evidence. And you expect me to believe they never told you where it was? They didn't, I swear. Adrian crosses the space between them in 2 strides. His hand clamps around her throat. Not choking, just holding. A reminder of how easy it would be. Let's try this again, he says quietly. Your parents had more than this. I've been through these files a dozen times. They're damaging, sure, but they're not complete. There's a second cache. Somewhere else. And you're going to tell me where. Serafina can barely breathe. I don't know. Adrian's grip tightens. Black spots dance at the edge of her vision. Wrong answer. She's telling the truth. The new voice comes from the doorway. Adrian releases Serafina. She stumbles backward, gasping. Through watering eyes, she sees someone step into the unit. Lucien. He's alone. No vest, no weapons visible. Just standing there like he walked into a business meeting. Lucien Devereaux. Adrian's voice is cold. Wasn't expecting you to join us personally. Wasn't expecting you to be stupid enough to monologue. Lucien's eyes flick to Serafina. You okay? She nods. Can't speak yet. Touching. Adrian gestures to his men. They adjust their aim, both guns now pointed at Lucien. But ultimately pointless. You walk in here unarmed, thinking what? That I won't kill you? I'm thinking you're smarter than that. Lucien's voice is calm, too calm. You kill me, my people level this building. Everyone inside dies, including you. Mutually assured destruction. How tedious. Adrian pulls a gun from his jacket, points it at Serafina. Here's a better idea. You tell me where the second cache is, or I shoot her. Right now. In the head. Lucien doesn't react. There is no second cache. Bullshit. It's the truth. Her parents only had one hiding spot. This one. Everything else was destroyed in the car accident. Lucien's eyes are flat, dead. I've been chasing a ghost for 5 years. And so have you. Adrian's jaw tightens. You're lying. Am I? Lucien gestures at the filing cabinet. Look at what's there. Financial records, photographs, witness statements, everything you need to bury your family. But nothing that directly ties you to the murders. Nothing with your signature. Your uncle's? Sure. Your father's? Absolutely. But you? You're clean. You always made sure of that. Adrian's gun doesn't waver. So what's your play here, Devereaux? You think I'm just going to let you walk out with the evidence? No. I think you're going to kill us both and burn this place to the ground. Lucien's smile is sharp. But first, I think you're going to wonder why I walked in here alone. Why I didn't bring my security team. Why I'm standing here, unarmed, without a plan. Enlighten me, because this was never about the evidence. Lucien's voice drops. This was about getting you in the same room as Serafina. And once you were here, making sure you said everything I needed you to say. Adrian's expression shifts. What? The earpiece isn't just for listening, Lucien says. It's transmitting. Everything you've said in the last 5 minutes is being recorded. And right now it's being broadcast live to every major news outlet in the city. The threats, the admission that you've been tracking Serafina, the way you just confirmed your family's involvement in fraud and corruption. Lucien's smile widens. You just confessed to everything, on record, with witnesses. Adrian's face goes white, then red. You son of a... He swings the gun toward Lucien. Serafina moves without thinking. She lunges forward, slamming into Adrian's arm. The gun goes off. The sound is deafening in the small space. The bullet punches through the wall, missing Lucian by inches. One of Adrian's men fires. Serafina doesn't see where the bullet goes. She's too focused on Adrian, on the gun in his hand, on stopping him from firing again. They hit the ground together. Adrian's elbow catches her in the ribs. Pain explodes through her chest. She gasps, tries to roll away. Adrian's hand fists in her hair, yanks her back. "You stupid bitch!" Something crashes into Adrian from the side. Lucian. They go down in a tangle of limbs. Serafina scrambles backward, hits the filing cabinet. Her hand finds the knife in her boot. She pulls it out, flips it open. Gunfire erupts. Not from inside the unit, from outside. The hallway explodes with sound, shouting, running footsteps. More gunshots. Adrian's men turn toward the door. One goes down immediately, blood blooming across his chest. The other fires blind into the hallway. Someone screams. Lucien gets a hand on Adrian's gun. They struggle for it. Adrian's finger is on the trigger. The gun fires again. The bullet goes wild, shattering the light bulb Serafina didn't realize was there. Darkness swallows the room. Serafina can't see, can only hear. Grunts of effort. The wet sound of fists hitting flesh. Something metal clattering across concrete. She crawls forward, blade first, feeling her way through the dark. Her hand touches fabric. She stabs. Someone howls, not Lucien's voice. Adrian's. "My leg! You stabbed my fucking leg!" Hands grab Serafina, strong, pulling her up. She swings the knife wildly. "It's me!" Lucian's voice, close, urgent. "We need to move, now." He drags her toward the door. Behind them, Adrian is still screaming, cursing. Someone else shouts. One of Adrian's men, maybe, or one of Lucien's. Serafina can't tell anymore. They burst into the hallway. It's chaos. Bodies on the ground, some moving, some not. Men in tactical gear, Lucien's people, she assumes, firing down the stairwell. Return fire comes from below, muzzle flashes lighting up the darkness like strobe lights. "East exit," Lucien snaps. He pulls Serafina toward the opposite end of the hallway. They run. Her lungs burn. Her ribs scream where Adrian hit her. She keeps moving anyway. They hit the east stairwell. Start descending. Below them, more gunfire. A window shatters. Glass rains down. "Keep going," Lucien says. His hand is on her back, pushing her forward. "Don't stop." They reach the ground floor. Lucien kicks open a door. They spill out into an alley. Cold air. Rain. When did it start raining? A car screeches around the corner, the same sedan from earlier. The driver leans over, throws open the back door. "Get in!" Lucien shoves Serafina inside. She lands hard on the leather seat. Lucien dives in after her. The door slams. The car is moving before it's even fully closed. Behind them, the storage facility burns. Flames pour from the windows on the second floor. Someone must have thrown an incendiary. The whole building is going up. Serafina watches it disappear through the rear window. Watches the evidence, her parents' files, their photographs, everything they died protecting, turn to ash and smoke. "The files," she whispers. "We left them. I have copies." Lucien pulls a USB drive from his pocket, different from the one in the filing cabinet. "Scanned everything 2 weeks ago. The cabinet was bait. The real evidence has been in a safe deposit box since the day I found it." Serafina stares at him. "You've had it this whole time." "Yes?" "Then why—" Her voice breaks. "Why did you make me go in there? Why put me through this if you already had what you needed?" "Because Adrian wouldn't confess to anything unless he thought he'd won." Lucian's face is hard. He needed to believe he had you cornered, that you were helpless. Only then would he drop his guard enough to say something incriminating. "So I was bait. Just bait." "Yes." The word hits like a slap. Serafina's hands shake. She realizes she's still holding the knife. It's covered in blood. Adrian's blood. "You used me," she says. "I told you I would." Lucian's voice is flat. "I told you people would die. I told you this would be ugly. You agreed." "I didn't agree to be a pawn. Everyone's a pawn, Serafina. The only question is whether you're a pawn who gets something out of it or a pawn who dies for nothing." Serafina wants to scream, wants to hit him, wants to throw herself out of the moving car. Instead, she just sits there, numb, watching the city blur past. The driver takes them back to the estate. The gates open. The sedan pulls up to the entrance. Marguerite waits under the awning, holding towels. Because of course she does. Of course, Lucien's staff is so well trained, they know to prepare for blood and rain. "Get cleaned up," Lucien says as they exit the car. "Then meet me in the study. We need to talk." "I'm done talking." "Too bad. We're not finished." He walks inside. Serafina stands in the rain, shaking, covered in someone else's blood, and realizes she has no idea who she is anymore. The woman who ran from the cathedral feels like a stranger. The woman who agreed to Lucien's plan feels like an idiot. And the woman standing here now, she doesn't know what that woman is capable of. Marguerite appears beside her. "Come, miss, let's get you warm." Serafina follows her inside. Lets herself be led to the guest bathroom. Marguerite runs a bath, leaves clean clothes on the counter, closes the door quietly behind her. Serafina strips off the blood-soaked jacket, the jeans, the boots with the knife still tucked inside. She sinks into the bath. The water is scalding. She doesn't care. She scrubs until her skin is raw, until the water runs clear, until she can't smell gunpowder and smoke anymore. By the time she's dressed and heading to the study, an hour has passed. Maybe more. Time feels slippery. Wrong. Lucien is at his desk when she enters. He's changed clothes. No blood, no evidence of what just happened. He looks up when she comes in. "Sit," he says. Serafina doesn't. "What happens now?" "Now, I release the recording to the press. By morning, every news outlet in the country will be running Adrian's confession. The FBI will have no choice but to investigate. The Mercer family collapses. And you disappear. Just like that. Just like that." Lucien stands, walks to the window. "I'll set you up with a new identity. Transfer funds to an offshore account. You can go anywhere, be anyone." "And you?" "I finish what I started. There are still people who helped the Mercers, judges, politicians. They all need to burn. More bodies. If necessary." Lucien turns to face her. "I never pretended to be a good man, Serafina. I told you what this was, what I was. You chose to help anyway. Because I thought we were partners. We were never partners. We were allies. Temporarily." The words are cold, clinical, like she's a contract that's reached its expiration date. "Did you ever care?" Serafina asks. "Even a little?" Lucien's expression doesn't change. "No." She waits for it to hurt. It doesn't. Maybe she's too numb. Or maybe she knew all along. "Then I guess we're done," she says. "Yes." Serafina turns to leave. "Serafina." She stops, doesn't turn around. "What you did tonight," Lucien says quietly. "Stabbing Adrian. That took guts. Or desperation. There's not much difference." A pause. "For what it's worth, you're stronger than you think." Serafina looks back at him. "If I'm so strong, why do I feel like I'm drowning?" Lucien doesn't answer, just watches her with those flat gray eyes. Serafina leaves. She goes back to her room, sits on the edge of the bed, stares at the wall. Outside, the rain pounds against the windows. Thunder rumbles. Her phone buzzes. The burner. She picks it up. Unknown number, a text message. "You think you won. You didn't." Serafina's blood goes cold. She types back, "Who is this?" The response comes immediately. Adrian sends his regards. He's alive, and he's coming for you. Before Serafina can respond, another message appears. A photo. It's her, standing in Lucien's driveway, taken from a distance. Tonight, after the storage facility. Someone was watching. Someone followed them back. Serafina's hands shake so hard she drops the phone. It hits the floor, screen cracking. She runs to the door, throws it open. "Lucien!" No response. She sprints down the hallway, through the house, to the study. The door is open. The room is empty. On the desk, a note. Lucien's handwriting. Had to leave. Emergency at the docks. Back by dawn. Serafina reads it twice. 3 times. Her mind is screaming. He left. He left her here alone. And Adrian knows where she is. A sound from downstairs. Glass breaking. Serafina's breath stops. Footsteps. Multiple people. Moving through the house. She backs away from the study. Her eyes scan for weapons. Nothing. Just books and furniture and expensive art that won't stop a bullet. The footsteps are closer now, coming up the stairs. Serafina runs. She makes it to her room, locks the door, grabs the knife from her discarded boots. It's still covered in Adrian's blood. She holds it in both hands. The footsteps stop outside her door. A voice. Low. Male. Not Adrian. "We know you're in there." Serafina doesn't respond. "Mr. Mercer wants to talk. You can come willingly, or we can break down this door. Your choice." "Lucien will kill you," Serafina says. Her voice shakes. The man laughs. "Lucien's not here, and by the time he gets back, you'll be long gone." The door shudders. They're kicking it. The lock won't hold. Serafina looks around wildly. Window. Too high to jump. Bathroom. No exit. Closet. The door splinters, cracks. One more kick and it'll give. Serafina makes a choice. She throws open the window. The rain lashes her face. Below, a trellis clings to the side of the house. Old. Probably unstable. She doesn't have another option. She climbs out. The trellis groans under her weight. She moves fast, hand over hand, feet finding purchase on slick wood. The rain makes everything slippery. Her hands are numb. She can't feel her fingers. Above her, the door to her room crashes open, shouts. Flashlight beams cut through the rain. Serafina looks down. 20 feet to the ground. Maybe more. The gardens below are dark. She jumps. The impact drives the air from her lungs. She lands hard, rolls, comes up gasping. Pain shoots through her ankle. Twisted. Maybe broken. She limps forward anyway. Behind her, voices. Someone's climbing down the trellis after her. Serafina runs into the darkness, into the rain, into the endless woods that surround Lucien's estate. She has no shoes, no phone, no weapon except a knife covered in blood. And somewhere behind her, Adrian's men are hunting. She runs until her lungs give out, until she can't hear footsteps anymore, until the estate is just a distant glow through the trees. Then she collapses against a tree trunk, gasping, shaking, and realizes with perfect clarity that she's completely alone. Lucien's gone. Adrian's alive, and the only thing Serafina has left is the will to survive. The rain doesn't stop, neither does she. The woods swallow Serafina whole. Rain hammers through the canopy above, turning the ground into mud that sucks at her bare feet with every step. Branches claw at her face. Her ankle screams with each impact, but she doesn't stop. Can't stop. Behind her, flashlight beams cut through the darkness like searchlights hunting prey. "She went this way." The voice is close. Too close. Serafina veers left, deeper into the trees, where the undergrowth is thicker and the shadows are absolute. Her lungs burn. Her ribs ache where Adrian hit her hours ago. Was it only hours? It feels like days. She trips over a root, goes down hard. Mud fills her mouth. She spits, gasps, pushes herself up. Her hands are shaking so badly she can barely grip the knife still clenched in her fist. The flashlight beams sweep closer. She can hear them now. Boots crushing wet leaves, voices calling coordinates to each other like they're running a military operation. Which they probably are. Adrian doesn't hire amateurs. Serafina crawls behind a fallen tree, presses herself flat against the rotting bark, holds her breath. 2 men pass within 10 feet of her. She can see their faces in the flashlight glow. Young, professional, earpieces, tactical vests. One of them speaks into a radio. "Section C clear, moving to D." They walk past. Serafina waits until she can't hear them anymore. Then she moves, slower this time, quieter. Her body is shutting down. The adrenaline that got her out of the house is fading fast, leaving nothing but pain and exhaustion. She needs to find help. A road. A house, something. But all she finds is more trees. The woods stretch on forever, dark and wet and endless. Serafina has no idea which direction leads to civilization. For all she knows, she's walking in circles. She could be 5 miles from the estate or 50 feet. Her ankle gives out. She collapses against a tree, breathing hard. Blood runs down her feet from a dozen cuts. Her clothes are soaked through. She's shivering so hard her teeth chatter. This is how people die, she thinks. Not from bullets or knives, from exposure, from giving up. She closes her eyes. Just for a second. Just to rest. When she opens them, it's lighter. Not much. Just enough to see the sky through the trees turning from black to gray. Dawn. How long was she unconscious? Minutes? Hours? She tries to stand. Her legs won't cooperate. Everything hurts. Everything is cold. Then she hears it. An engine. Distant, but real. Serafina forces herself upright, follows the sound. It takes forever. Every step is agony. But the sound gets louder, closer, until she breaks through the tree line and sees it. A road. 2 lanes. Cracked asphalt. Empty except for a single pair of headlights approaching from the south. Serafina stumbles into the middle of the road, waves her arms. The car slows, stops. A truck, actually. Old. Rust along the wheel wells, the driver's window rolls down. A man leans out, mid-50s, weathered face, flannel shirt. Jesus Christ, he says. What happened to you? Please. Serafina's voice is barely a whisper. I need help. Someone's trying to kill me. The man's eyes narrow. He looks her up and down. Takes in the mud, the blood. The knife still clenched in her hand. Get in, he says. Serafina climbs into the passenger seat. The cab smells like coffee and cigarettes. The man puts the truck in gear and accelerates. There a hospital nearby? Serafina asks. 20 minutes north. The man glances at her. You need police? No. The word comes out too fast, too desperate. No police. The man doesn't argue, just drives. After a minute, he reaches behind the seat and pulls out a jacket, hands it to her. You're shaking. Serafina wraps herself in it. It's warm, smells like motor oil. She closes her eyes and tries not to think about Adrian's men still searching the woods. About Lucien, wherever he is, who left her alone and unprotected. About how she has absolutely no plan beyond surviving the next 5 minutes. The truck hits a pothole. Serafina's eyes snap open. Through the windshield, she sees something that makes her blood freeze. A black SUV. Pulled across the road. Blocking both lanes. Shit, the man mutters. He slows the truck. Stops 20 feet from the SUV. 3 men step out. Tactical gear. Guns. One of them walks toward the truck. Taps on the driver's window. The man rolls it down. Problem, officer? Not an officer. The man's voice is flat, dead. Looking for someone, girl, mid-20s, brunette, covered in mud. You seen anyone like that? Serafina holds her breath. Her hand moves to the door handle. The driver hesitates, just for a second. Nope. Haven't seen nobody. The man outside looks past him, looks directly at Serafina. That's her. Everything happens at once. The driver shouts. Serafina throws open the passenger door and rolls out, hits the pavement hard, gets up running. Behind her, gunfire. The truck's windshield explodes. The driver screams. Serafina doesn't look back. She sprints across the road, into the ditch on the opposite side, scrambling up the embankment. More gunshots. Bullets tear through the grass beside her. She makes it over the top. Finds herself in an open field. No cover. Nowhere to hide. She runs anyway. The field stretches forever. Her lungs are on fire. Her legs are lead. She can hear boots pounding behind her, getting closer. A hand grabs her shoulder, yanks her backward. She spins, swings the knife blindly. It catches the man across the forearm. He curses, releases her. She stumbles back. He's young, maybe 30. Blood soaks through his sleeve where the blade cut him. You little bitch, he says. He pulls a gun. Serafina throws the knife. It's a terrible throw. No accuracy. But it's enough to make him flinch. She turns and runs again. The gun fires. Once, twice. She feels the bullets pass close enough to hear them whistle. Then she's at the far edge of the field. Trees again. She crashes through them. Her foot catches on something and she goes down. Rolls, comes up gasping. The man is right behind her. Serafina grabs a rock. Swings it as hard as she can. It connects with the side of his head. He drops like someone cut his strings. She doesn't wait to see if he gets up. She runs. The trees thin out. She sees buildings ahead. A town. Small. Maybe a few hundred people. Streets, houses. A gas station with lights on. Serafina runs toward it. Her vision is blurring. Black spots dance at the edges. She's not going to make it. She knows she's not going to make it, but she keeps running. She crashes through the gas station door. A bell chimes. The clerk behind the counter looks up. His eyes go wide. "Call the police," Serafina gasps. "Please, someone's trying to..." The door opens behind her. The clerk's hand moves towards something under the counter. Serafina turns. It's not Adrian's man. It's Lucien. He's covered in blood. Not his blood, she realizes. Someone else's. His shirt is torn. There's a cut above his left eye. He looks like he's been through a war. "Get away from her," the clerk says. He's pulled out a shotgun, has it pointed at Lucien. Lucien doesn't even look at him, just at Serafina. "We need to go, now." "How did you find me?" "Tracker in the jacket Marguerite gave you. I've been following you since you left the estate." He takes a step forward. The clerk cocks the shotgun. Lucien still doesn't look at him. "Serafina, we don't have time for this. Adrian's men are 30 seconds behind you." "You left me," Serafina says. Her voice cracks. "You left me alone and they came." "I know, and I'm here now." Lucien's voice is urgent, raw. "I made a mistake, but if you don't come with me right now, you're going to die. So you can hate me later. Right now, you need to move." The clerk adjusts his grip on the shotgun. "She's not going anywhere with you." Lucien finally looks at him. "You pull that trigger, you'll be dead before the pellets leave the barrel. I have a sniper on the roof across the street. Red dot on your chest. Check." The clerk looks down. His face goes pale. There's a tiny red dot on his shirt, right over his heart. "Now put the gun down," Lucien says quietly, and we all walk away. The clerk sets the shotgun on the counter, steps back, hands up. Lucien crosses to Serafina, holds out his hand. "Please." Serafina looks at his hand, at his face, at the blood covering him. "Whose blood is that?" she asks. "People who tried to stop me from getting to you." "How many?" "6. "Did you kill them?" Lucien's expression doesn't change. "Yes." Serafina takes his hand. They run. Outside, a black sedan is idling at the curb. Same driver as always. He throws open the back door. Lucien pushes Serafina inside, climbs in after her. The car is moving before the door closes. "Where are we going?" Serafina asks. "Somewhere Adrian can't follow." Lucien pulls out his phone. Types something fast. "The recording went live 2 hours ago. Every news station is running it. The FBI issued warrants for Adrian and 15 members of his family. But Adrian's not going quietly. He's burning everything, witnesses, evidence, anyone who can connect him to the crimes. He's going to kill me. He's going to try." Lucien looks at her, really looks at her. "But I won't let him." "You already did." The words hang in the air between them. Lucien's jaw tightens. "I thought he'd wait, regroup. I didn't think he'd move on the estate that fast." "You were wrong." "I know. I could have died." "I know." Lucien's voice is rough. "And that's on me. But right now we need to focus on staying alive. Because Adrian's not just coming for you anymore. He's coming for both of us. And he won't stop until we're dead, or he is." The car accelerates. Buildings blur past. They're leaving the town behind, heading back toward the city. "Where are we going?" Serafina asks again. "The Rothmore Hotel, downtown. There's a charity gala tonight. Every major political figure and business leader in the state will be there, including several FBI officials." "Why would we go there?" "Because Adrian will be there too." Lucien's eyes are cold, hard. He still has friends in high places, people who owe him favors. He's going to use the gala to make his case, spin the recording as a fabrication, discredit the evidence. And if we let him do that, everything we've done means nothing. So we're walking into a trap. We're walking into the only place where Adrian can't make us disappear quietly. Lucien leans forward. In front of cameras, in front of witnesses, we expose him completely. No lawyer tricks, no backroom deals. We end this tonight. Serafina's head is spinning. "How?" "You're going to testify. In person. Tell everyone what Adrian did, what he planned to do, and I'm going to make sure he can't run. He'll kill me the second he sees me." Not in a room full of federal agents. Lucian pulls out a tablet, shows her a guest list. Hundreds of names. Half these people want Adrian's head on a spike. The other half are too afraid of bad publicity to protect him. We go in together. We tell the truth. And we let the system do the rest. You're insane. Probably. Lucian's smile is sharp. But it's the only move we have left. Adrian thinks he's won because you're running. He thinks I'm scrambling. So we stop running. We go to him. And we finish this. The car turns onto the highway. The city rises ahead of them. Tall buildings, lights. The Rothmore Hotel is a tower of glass and steel in the center of downtown. Serafina can see it from here. I'm not dressed for a gala, she says. It's a stupid thing to focus on. But her brain is short-circuiting. Too much adrenaline. Too much fear. That's been handled. Lucien nods toward a garment bag hanging in the front seat. Marguerite packed everything you'll need. Dress, shoes, makeup. You'll have 30 minutes to get ready once we arrive. And you? I have people waiting with the suit. Lucien looks down at his blood-soaked clothes. I can't exactly walk into the Rothmore looking like I just came from a massacre. Did you? Yes. Serafina closes her eyes. She's so tired. Every part of her hurts. She wants to sleep for a week. Instead, she's about to walk into a ballroom full of the most powerful people in the state and accuse a man of murder. What if this doesn't work? She asks quietly. Then we die. Lucien's voice is matter-of-fact. But we die fighting, not running. The car pulls into the underground parking garage of the Rothmore. The driver parks in a reserved spot. Lucien steps out first, scans the area, nods to 3 men in suits standing near the elevator, his security. Clear, one of them says. Lucien helps Serafina out of the car. She can barely walk. Her ankle is swollen to twice its normal size. One of the security team hands Lucien a cane. For her, he says. Lucien passes it to Serafina. She takes it, leans on it. It helps. A little. They take a service elevator to the 20th floor. A suite has been prepared. Marguerite is waiting inside. She takes one look at Serafina and her expression hardens. 30 minutes, she says. I can work with that. She ushers Serafina into a bathroom. The tub is already filled. Steam rises from the water. Serafina strips off her filthy clothes and sinks into it. The heat is almost painful. She scrubs until the water turns brown with mud and blood. Marguerite doesn't waste time. She washes Serafina's hair, bandages her feet, wraps her ankle in compression tape, applies makeup with quick, efficient strokes, foundation to cover the bruises, eyeliner to make her look alive instead of half dead. The dress is midnight blue, long, elegant. It fits perfectly. The shoes have a low heel, Marguerite's concession to the injured ankle. Jewelry. Simple. A silver necklace. Earrings. Serafina looks at herself in the mirror. She looks like someone going to a ball, not someone who spent the last 6 hours running for her life. You'll do, Marguerite says. Not a compliment, just a statement of fact. Serafina limps back into the main room. Lucien is there. He's changed into a black suit, white shirt, no tie. The cut above his eye has been cleaned and covered with a small bandage. He looks like himself again, controlled, dangerous. Ready? He asks. No. Good. Neither am I. He offers his arm. But we're doing this anyway. Serafina takes it. They walk to the elevator. Descend to the ballroom level. The doors open onto a hallway filled with people in evening wear. Diamonds, champagne, laughter. Serafina's heart is pounding so hard she can feel it in her throat. They walk toward the ballroom entrance. 2 security guards stand at the door, checking invitations. Lucien hands over a card. The guard scans it, nods. Mr. Devereaux, welcome. They step inside. The ballroom is massive. Crystal chandeliers hang from a vaulted ceiling. Round tables draped in white linen fill the floor. A stage at the far end where someone is currently speaking into a microphone about charitable contributions. Hundreds of people, maybe more. Serafina scans the crowd, looking for Adrian. He's not here yet, Lucien murmurs. But he will be. He can't afford not to show. Too many important people watching. They find a table near the back. Sit. A waiter appears with champagne. Serafina doesn't drink. Can't. Her hands are shaking too hard. The speech on stage ends. Applause. Someone else takes the microphone. More talk about donations and foundations and making a difference. Then the ballroom doors open. Adrian walks in. He's wearing a tuxedo. His hair is perfect. His smile is perfect. He looks like he just stepped out of a magazine. No sign of the stab wound Serafina gave him. No sign that he's a man with federal warrants out for his arrest. He's surrounded by people. Lawyers, probably. And bodyguards disguised as assistants. His eyes sweep the room. They land on Serafina. He stops walking. For just a second, his mask slips. The smile falters. Something dark flickers across his face. Then he's moving again, straight toward her. "Don't run," Lucian says quietly. "He can't touch you here." Adrian reaches their table, looks down at Serafina, then at Lucienne. "This is bold," Adrian says. His voice is pleasant, conversational. "Coming here, after everything." "Funny," Lucienne replies. "I was about to say the same thing. A man with federal warrants walking into a room full of law enforcement. That takes either courage or stupidity. The warrants are a misunderstanding. My lawyers are handling it." Adrian's smile widens. "But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Since you're the one who fabricated the evidence." "I didn't fabricate anything. I just gave you enough rope to hang yourself." "We'll see what a jury thinks." Adrian looks back at Serafina. "And you look lovely, considering you've been rolling around in the mud like an animal." Serafina stands. The cane helps keep her steady. "You tried to kill me. I tried to find you, to help you. You're clearly having some kind of breakdown. I stabbed you in the leg." Serafina's voice is loud enough that people at nearby tables turn to look. 6 hours ago. In a storage unit, right before you tried to shoot Lucian. Adrian's expression hardens. "You're confused, traumatized. I understand. That's why I'm willing to overlook this little outburst." "I'm not confused." Serafina takes a step toward him. "You killed my parents. You bought my debts and manipulated me into almost marrying you so you could steal evidence they collected against your family. And when I ran, you hunted me. So no, Adrian, I'm not confused. I'm done." The ballroom has gone quiet. Everyone is watching now. Adrian's jaw tightens. "You have no proof." "I have a recording of you confessing." Lucien stands, pulls out his phone. "Want to hear it?" "That recording is inadmissible. Obtained under duress." "Maybe in court." Lucien's smile is cold. "But we're not in court. We're in a room full of people who already think you're guilty. So let's ask them." He turns to the crowd, raises his voice. "How many of you saw the news today? The recording of Adrian Mercer threatening a woman and admitting to multiple felonies?" Silence. Then someone raises a hand, then another, then dozens. Adrian's face goes white. "This is a setup." "No." Serafina's voice is steady now, clear. "This is justice." Adrian takes a step toward her. His hand moves inside his jacket. Lucian moves faster. He's between them in half a second, his hand on Adrian's wrist. "Don't. Get your hand off me. Make me." The tension breaks when someone screams, a woman at a nearby table. She's pointing at Adrian's jacket, at the gun partially visible beneath it. "He has a weapon!" The ballroom erupts into chaos. People scramble away from the table. Security guards converge. Someone shouts for the police. Adrian yanks his hand free from Lucian's grip, pulls the gun, points it at Serafina. "You destroyed everything," he says. His voice is shaking. "My family. My future. Everything." "You destroyed yourself," Serafina says. "Maybe, but I'm taking you with me." His finger tightens on the trigger. Lucien moves, slams into Adrian from the side. The gun goes off. The bullet punches through the chandelier above them. Glass rains down. People scream, run. Lucien and Adrian hit the ground. The gun skitters across the floor. Serafina dives for it. Her hand closes around the grip. She stands, points it at Adrian. He's on his back. Lucien is on top of him, fist drawn back. "Lucien, stop," Serafina says. Lucien freezes, looks at her. "He's not worth it," she says. "Let the law handle him." For a long moment, Lucien doesn't move. Then he stands, steps back. Adrian starts laughing. It's a terrible sound. broken, hysterical. The law. You think the law matters? You think anyone here actually cares about justice? I do, a voice says. A man steps forward from the crowd. Mid-40s, dark suit, FBI badge on his belt. Adrian Mercer, you're under arrest. Adrian's laugh cuts off. He looks at the agent, at Serafina, at the gun in her hand. This isn't over, he says. Yes, Serafina replies. It is. The FBI agent pulls Adrian to his feet, cuffs him, reads him his rights. Other agents appear. They must have been in the crowd the whole time, waiting. Adrian is dragged toward the exit. He doesn't resist, just walks. But his eyes stay on Serafina until he's out of sight. The ballroom is still chaos. Hotel security is trying to calm people down. The police have arrived. Someone's taking statements. Lucien touches Serafina's arm. We should go. Where? Anywhere but here. They slip out through a side exit, make their way back to the service elevator, up to the suite. Inside, Serafina collapses onto the sofa. The gun is still in her hand. She sets it down carefully on the coffee table. It's over, she says. Not a question, a statement. It's over, Lucien confirms. Serafina closes her eyes, feels tears running down her face. She doesn't try to stop them, can't. Lucien sits beside her, doesn't touch her, just sits. After a long time, Serafina opens her eyes. What happens now? Now the FBI builds their case. Adrian goes to trial, his family collapses, and you, Lucien pauses, you get to decide who you want to be. I don't know who that is anymore. Then you have time to figure it out. Serafina looks at him. What about you? I keep fighting. There are still people who helped the Mercers, still corruption to root out. This isn't over for me. It could be. Lucien shakes his head. No, it couldn't. Why not? Because this is all I know. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at the city. I'm not built for peace, Serafina. I'm built for war. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Maybe. He turns back to her. But it's the truth. Serafina stands too, limps over to him. They stand side by side, looking out at the lights below. Thank you, she says quietly. For coming back. For saving me. You saved yourself. Lucien's voice is soft. I just made sure you had a chance to. They stand there in silence. Two people who survived something most people can't even imagine. And outside in the city below, the world keeps turning. Tomorrow, Serafina will wake up in a world where Adrian Mercer is in custody, where her parents' killers are facing justice, where she's finally, truly free. But tonight, she just stands at the window beside the man who helped her burn everything down. And for the first time in 10 years, she feels like she can finally breathe. The trial begins 3 months later. Serafina sits in the gallery every single day, front row, same seat. She watches as prosecutors lay out evidence piece by piece, financial records, photographs, testimony from witnesses who finally found the courage to speak. The courtroom is packed. Media cameras line the back wall. This is the trial of the decade, and everyone knows it. Adrian sits at the defense table in an expensive suit that can't hide what he's become. Thinner, older. His perfect hair is still perfect, but his eyes are hollow. He doesn't look at Serafina, not once, not during opening statements, not during witness testimony, not even when the prosecution plays the recording of his confession, his voice echoing through the courtroom, cold and damning. Lucien doesn't attend. He sends updates through Marguerite, brief texts, clinical summaries of each day's proceedings. He's busy, Marguerite explains, other battles to fight, other wars to win. Serafina doesn't ask for details, doesn't want to know. On the 5th day of testimony, the prosecution calls Serafina to the stand. She walks to the witness box on steady legs. The ankle healed weeks ago. So did the cuts on her feet. The bruises faded. The physical damage is gone. But when she places her hand on the book and swears to tell the truth, her voice still shakes. The prosecutor is a woman in her 40s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense demeanor. She approaches the stand with a folder tucked under her arm. Ms. Vale, she begins, Can you tell the court how you first met the defendant? Serafina takes a breath. He approached me 2 weeks after my grandmother died. I was at a coffee shop near her house. He said he'd known her, said he wanted to offer his condolences. And did you believe him? Yes. He was kind, attentive, everything I needed at that moment. The prosecutor nods. When did you realize he wasn't who he claimed to be? At the wedding, right before we were supposed to say our vows. I overheard him talking to his attorney about offshore accounts and property transfers. That's when I understood I wasn't supposed to be his wife. I was supposed to be a transaction. What did you do? I ran. The prosecutor walks Serafina through everything. The storage unit, the recording, the night Adrian's men invaded Lucien's estate, the gala. Every detail is pulled out, examined, entered into evidence. Serafina's voice stays steady. She doesn't cry, doesn't break. She just tells the truth. When the defense attorney cross-examines her, he's aggressive, tries to paint her as unstable, a woman scorned, someone with a vendetta. Serafina meets every question with calm precision. She doesn't take the bait, doesn't get angry. She just answers. By the time she steps down from the stand, she's exhausted. But when she walks past Adrian's table, she sees something in his face that makes it all worth it. Fear. The trial lasts 6 weeks. The jury deliberates for 4 days. When they return with a verdict, the courtroom goes silent. Guilty. On all counts. Conspiracy, fraud, attempted murder, racketeering. Adrian doesn't react, just sits there, staring straight ahead, while the judge sets a sentencing date, 25 years to life. The courtroom erupts. Reporters scramble for the exits. Adrian's lawyers immediately file notice of appeal. But Serafina doesn't stay to watch. She walks out into the hallway, into the sunlight streaming through the courthouse windows, and for the first time since this whole nightmare began, she feels something close to peace. Her phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. It's done. You did well. L. She stares at the message for a long time, then deletes it. The weeks that follow are strange, quiet. Serafina moves out of the hotel where she's been staying and rents a small apartment in a neighborhood she doesn't know. She buys furniture, plants, things that make a place feel like home instead of just somewhere to sleep. The media attention fades. New scandals replace the old ones. Adrian Mercer's name disappears from headlines. His family's empire collapses in spectacular fashion. Assets seized, properties auctioned, executives arrested. The rot runs deep. Deeper than anyone imagined. By the time the FBI finishes investigating, 17 people are indicted. 8 more flee the country. So us. Serafina watches it all unfold from a distance. She doesn't give interviews, doesn't write a book, doesn't try to profit from her pain. She just exists, breathes, learns what normal feels like. She gets a job at a nonprofit that helps victims of financial exploitation. It's not glamorous. The pay is terrible. But the work matters. And for the first time in her life, Serafina feels like she's doing something that would have made her parents proud. 6 months after the trial, she receives a package. No return address. Just her name and apartment number written in elegant script. Inside, she finds a key and a note. Storage unit, 1247 Oak Street. Everything your parents left behind, the real files, the ones Adrian never found. Do with them what you think is right. L. Serafina stares at the key, then at the note. Then she picks up her phone and calls the number Marguerite gave her months ago, the one that's supposed to reach Lucien in emergencies. It rings 4 times. Then a voice she hasn't heard in half a year answers. Serafina. Just her name. Nothing else. But hearing it in Lucien's voice makes something twist in her chest. You sent me a key, she says. I did. Why now? Because you're ready. 6 months ago, you would have burned everything without looking at it. Now you'll actually read it, decide what matters. Serafina sits down on her couch. How do you know what I would have done 6 months ago? Because I know you. Lucien's voice is quiet, tired. Better than you think. Where are you? A pause. Far away. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Serafina closes her eyes. Are you ever coming back? No. The word is final, absolute. But something in the way he says it makes Serafina wonder if he wishes the answer were different. The work you're doing, Lucien continues, at the nonprofit, it's good work. You're keeping tabs on me. Old habits. You should stop. Probably. A breath. But I won't. Serafina doesn't know what to say to that. So she just sits there, phone pressed to her ear, listening to Lucien breathe on the other end of the line. The files in the storage unit, he says, finally, they contain information about other families, other operations, people who helped the Mercers, people who are still out there. And you want me to expose them. I want you to decide. You could hand everything to the FBI, let them handle it, or you could walk away, live your life. No one would blame you. What would you do? Lucien laughs. It's a rough sound. You already know what I'd do. That's why you're asking. Serafina opens her eyes, looks at the key in her hand. I'm not like you. No, you're better. Lucien's voice softens. You have a chance at a real life, Serafina. Don't waste it trying to fight battles that aren't yours. They killed my parents, and you made them pay. Adrian's in prison. His family is destroyed. That's more justice than most people ever get. Is it enough? Only you can answer that. The line goes quiet. Serafina can hear background noise on Lucien's end. Wind, maybe, or traffic. Wherever he is, it's somewhere far from here. Will I ever see you again, she asks. I don't know. That's not fair. I know. Lucien's voice is raw. But it's the truth. My life doesn't have room for... He stops. For what you deserve. And what do I deserve? Someone who comes home at night. Someone who doesn't have blood on their hands. Someone who can give you peace instead of just more war. Serafina's throat tightens. What if I don't want peace? Then you're lying to yourself. Lucien's voice hardens. And I won't let you ruin your life chasing ghosts with me. You don't get to decide that. I already have. A pause. Take care of yourself, Serafina. And whatever you decide about those files, make sure it's what you want, not what you think I want, not what anyone else wants. Just you. The line goes dead. Serafina sits there for a long time, staring at her phone. Then she picks up the key and drives to Oak Street. The storage facility is small. Old. The kind of place that rents month to month and doesn't ask questions. Unit 1247 is on the ground floor. Serafina unlocks it, pulls up the door. Inside, she finds boxes. Dozens of them. Labeled in her father's handwriting. More financial records, more photographs. Names she recognizes from the trial and names she doesn't. Evidence connecting corrupt officials to criminal networks spanning decades. Enough to bring down another dozen powerful families if she wanted to. Serafina sits down on the concrete floor, opens the first box, starts reading. Hours pass. The sun sets. Motion sensor lights flicker on overhead. Serafina keeps reading. By midnight, she's made her decision. She loads half the boxes into her car, the half with evidence that's actionable, current, dangerous to people who are still actively causing harm. She drives to the nearest FBI field office and leaves them on the doorstep with a note. More evidence. More crimes. Do your job. A concerned citizen. The other half, the older files, the things that are history instead of ongoing operations. She takes back to her apartment. She spends the next week reading through them, learning about her parents, about the risks they took, the sacrifices they made, the fear they must have felt knowing they were fighting people who could destroy them with a phone call. She finds letters. Hidden in the bottom of one box. Letters her father wrote to her mother. Love letters. Letters full of doubt and hope and determination to do the right thing even when it was terrifying. In one letter, dated a week before they died, her father wrote, "If we don't survive this, I hope Serafina understands why we fought. Not because we were brave, we weren't. We were scared every single day. But because some things are worth being scared for. And she's one of them." Serafina cries when she reads that. Really cries. For the first time since her grandmother died. She cries for her parents, for the life they could have had, for all the years she lost with them. And then she dries her eyes, puts the letters in a safe place, and keeps living. A year passes. Serafina is promoted at the nonprofit. She starts speaking at conferences about financial exploitation and recovery. Her story, carefully edited, names removed, becomes a case study in resilience. She helps dozens of people escape situations similar to the one Adrian trapped her in. She makes friends, real ones. People who don't know about the trial or the scandal, people who just know her as Serafina. The woman who works too hard and drinks terrible coffee and laughs too loud at bad jokes. She goes on a few dates. Nothing serious, but it's nice. Feeling normal, feeling like a person instead of a victim or a survivor or whatever label people want to put on her. The FBI uses the evidence she provided to indict 11 more people, 3 trials, 2 plea deals, dozens of arrests. The corruption that started with the Mercers spreads like a cancer through the city's infrastructure, and cutting it out takes years. But it happens. Slowly. Messily. But it happens. Serafina doesn't follow the trials. She already gave her testimony, told her story. She's done looking backward. One evening in late autumn, she's walking home from work when she sees him, Lucien. He's standing across the street, leaning against a lamppost, wearing a dark coat and jeans. He looks different, tired, older, but unmistakably him. Serafina stops walking. Her heart is pounding. She hasn't seen him in over a year, hasn't heard from him since that phone call about the storage unit. Lucien doesn't move, just watches her. Serafina crosses the street, stops a few feet away. "You're back." "Just for tonight." Lucien's voice is rough, like he hasn't used it in a while. "I wanted to see how you were doing." "You could have called." "I know." "But you didn't." "No." Serafina studies him. He looks thinner. There's a new scar on his jaw. His hands are shoved deep in his coat pockets. Everything about him screams exhaustion. "You look like hell," she says. Lucien's mouth twitches, almost a smile. "You look good." "I am good." And it's true. She is. "What about you?" "Still fighting." "Still winning?" "Define winning." Lucien's eyes are dark, haunted. "I've taken down 3 more operations in the last year, freed a lot of people, pissed off a lot of dangerous men. But I'm no closer to being done than I was a year ago." "Maybe you're not supposed to be done." "Maybe." He looks away. "I saw you speak, last month, at the conference downtown. I was in the back row." Serafina's breath catches. "You were there?" "Yeah, you were incredible, strong, honest, everything you weren't when we first met. People change. You did more than change." Lucien looks back at her. "You became who you were always supposed to be." "And who's that?" "Someone who saves people instead of needing to be saved." The words hang between them. Serafina doesn't know what to say, so she just stands there, on a sidewalk in autumn, watching the man who helped destroy her old life and build a new one. "Why did you really come back?" she asks. Lucien hesitates, then reaches into his coat, pulls out an envelope, hands it to her. "I'm leaving. For good this time. Going somewhere no one will find me. Starting over." "Where?" "Can't tell you. Safer that way." Serafina opens the envelope. Inside she finds a deed. To a vineyard in Italy. Her name is on it. "What is this?" she whispers. "A gift. Or an apology. I'm not sure which." Lucien's voice is quiet. "It was supposed to be mine. A place to disappear to when this was all over. But I realized something. I'm never going to be done. I'm going to keep fighting until someone puts a bullet in me or I collapse from exhaustion. That's who I am." "Lucien, but you." He cuts her off gently. "You get to be done. You get to walk away. And I want you to have somewhere to walk away to. Somewhere safe. Somewhere beautiful. Somewhere you can finally rest." Serafina stares at the deed, at her name written in legal script. "I can't accept this." "You already have. The papers are filed. It's yours." Lucien steps back. "Do whatever you want with it. Sell it, live there, turn it into a foundation. I don't care. I just wanted you to have options." "Why?" "Because you gave me something no one else ever has." Lucien's voice is raw. "You made me believe, even for a little while, that someone like me could be more than what I was born to be. That maybe redemption isn't just a word. And even though I'm not strong enough to walk away from this life, you are. And you should." Serafina's eyes burn. "You're a good man, Lucien Devereaux." "No, I'm not." He smiles, sad, broken. But you make me wish I could be. He turns to walk away. Wait, Serafina says. Lucian stops. Doesn't turn around. If you ever change your mind, she says, if you ever decide you want to stop fighting and start living, you know where to find me. I won't change my mind. But if you do, Lucien looks back over his shoulder. If I do, you'll be the first person I call. Then he's gone, walking down the street, disappearing into the crowd. Serafina watches until she can't see him anymore. That night, she sits in her apartment and reads through the vineyard deed. The property is beautiful, rolling hills, ancient grapevines, a stone farmhouse that looks like something out of a painting. It's everything she never knew she wanted. She doesn't sell it. But she doesn't move there either. Not yet. Instead, she keeps working, keeps helping people, keeps building a life that matters. But sometimes, late at night when she can't sleep, she thinks about Italy, about vineyards and sunshine and a life without fear. And she wonders if someday she'll be ready for it. 2 years after the trial, Serafina receives a letter. It's from Adrian, postmarked from the federal prison where he's serving his sentence. She almost throws it away without reading it, but something makes her open it. The letter is short, handwritten. Serafina, I know you won't believe this, but I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry. Not for getting caught, not for the trial. I'm sorry for what I did to you, for using you, for trying to turn you into something you were never meant to be. I've had a lot of time to think in here, about my choices, about who I became, and I realize now that you were the only real thing in my life, the only person who looked at me and saw a human being instead of a transaction or a threat. I ruined that. I know I did, and I know you'll never forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I wanted you to know that watching you testify, watching you stand up and tell the truth, even when it was terrifying, that changed something in me, made me see how far I'd fallen. I don't expect anything from you. I just wanted you to know that you were right, about everything, and I hope someday you find the peace you deserve. Adrian. Serafina reads the letter 3 times. Then she burns it. Watches the paper curl and blacken in the flame. Watches the ashes scatter. She doesn't forgive him. Can't. Some things can't be forgiven. But she lets go of the anger, the hatred, the need for him to suffer. She just lets it all go. And in doing so, she finally sets herself free. 5 years after the trial, Serafina stands in the arrivals terminal of an airport in Rome. She's 31 years old. Her hair's longer. There are lines around her eyes from smiling. She's wearing jeans and a comfortable sweater. She looks like someone who's lived and survived and come out the other side stronger. She picks up her luggage, walks out into the Italian sunshine. A car is waiting. A driver holds a sign with her name on it. "Ms. Vale?" he asks in accented English. "That's me." He loads her bags, drives her through winding roads lined with cypress trees and olive groves. After an hour, they turn onto a narrow lane. At the end of it, a stone farmhouse rises against the hills. Vineyards stretch in every direction. The driver unloads her bags. "Welcome home, miss," Serafina tips him, watches him drive away. Then she walks up to the farmhouse, unlocks the door with the key that was included with the deed all those years ago. Inside, the house is perfect, rustic, warm. Someone has been maintaining it, Lucien's people probably. The furniture is simple, comfortable. The kitchen is stocked. Fresh flowers sit in a vase on the dining table. Serafina walks through each room, touches the walls, looks out the windows at the endless rows of grapevines, and for the first time in her entire life, she feels like she's exactly where she's supposed to be. She spends the next few months settling in, learning Italian, meeting the locals, hiring workers to help with the vineyard. She's not a vintner, has no idea how to make wine, but she learns, takes classes, reads books, asks questions. Slowly, the vineyard starts producing again. Not much at first, just a few bottles, but enough. Enough to feel like progress, like building something real. She starts a foundation, uses money from the vineyard sales to fund scholarships for children who lost parents to violence, to financial exploitation, to corruption. She names it after her mother and father. The work is quiet, meaningful, and every day she wakes up grateful. One evening in late summer, she's sitting on the terrace outside the farmhouse, watching the sun set over the hills when she sees a car coming up the lane. An old sedan, dusty. It parks near the house. The door opens. Lucien steps out. He's older, grayer. There's a weariness in the way he moves, but his eyes are the same, storm gray and unreadable. Serafina stands. Her heart is pounding. She hasn't heard from him in 5 years. Didn't know if he was alive or dead. Lucien walks toward her slowly, stops at the bottom of the terrace steps. "Hi," he says. Serafina's throat tightens. "Hi." They stare at each other for a long moment. Then Lucien climbs the steps, stops a few feet away. "I'm done," he says quietly. "The fighting, the war, all of it. I'm done." "What changed?" "I did." Lucien looks out at the vineyard, at the sunset. "I spent 5 years trying to burn down every corrupt system I could find, and I realized something. There's always going to be another system, another fight. If I keep going, I'll die doing it, and I don't want to die anymore." "What do you want?" Lucien looks at her. "I want to stop running. I want to build something instead of destroying things. And I want—" He stops, swallows hard. "I want to see if there's a version of me that's worth knowing, the version you saw, even if I couldn't see it myself." Serafina's eyes burn. "And you think you'll find that here?" "I think if it exists anywhere, it's here with you, if you'll have me." Serafina steps closer, close enough to see the scars, the exhaustion, the hope buried beneath years of violence and regret. "I don't need you to save me," she says. "Not anymore. I know. And I won't wait around while you figure out who you want to be. I wouldn't ask you to. But—" Serafina reaches out, takes his hand. "If you're serious about this, about stopping, about building instead of burning, then yes, I'll have you." Lucien's breath shudders. "I don't deserve you." "Probably not," Serafina smiles. "But you're here anyway, so we'll figure it out." They stand there on the terrace as the sun dips below the horizon, as the sky turns gold and pink and purple, as the vineyard stretches out before them, full of promise and possibility. And for the first time in either of their lives, the future doesn't look like a battlefield. It looks like home. Years pass. The vineyard thrives. Serafina and Lucien work side by side, building something neither of them ever thought they could have. They don't marry right away. Take their time. Learn each other. Learn how to live without fear. The foundation grows. They fund schools, housing projects, support networks for victims of corruption and violence. They use the fortune Lucien accumulated over years of dismantling criminal empires and pour it into something good. Lucien changes. Not completely. He's still guarded, still carries the weight of what he's done. But Serafina watches him soften, watches him learn to smile without it looking like armor, watches him become someone who plants instead of destroys. On a warm evening in spring, 5 years after Lucien arrived at the vineyard, he asks Serafina to marry him. They're standing in the garden, surrounded by flowers. The sun is setting, the air smells like jasmine and wine. "Not because I own you, Lucien says. His voice is steady. "Not because you're leverage or property or anything I need to control, but because you're my partner, my equal, and the only person who ever made me believe I could be something other than what I was." Serafina looks at the ring in his hand. Simple, silver, perfect. "Yes," she says. They marry a month later. Small ceremony. Just a handful of friends. Marguerite is there, a few workers from the vineyard, people from the foundation. No press, no cameras, just two people choosing each other. As the sun sets over the hills, Lucien and Serafina stand together under an arch woven with grapevines and wildflowers. And when they kiss, it feels like the end of something and the beginning of everything. That night, after the guests have left and the house is quiet, Serafina and Lucien sit on the terrace. A bottle of wine from their first harvest sits between them. They don't talk, just sit, side by side, watching the stars. "Do you ever miss it?" Serafina asks finally. "The fighting?" Lucien thinks about it. "Sometimes, when I see the news, when I hear about some new corruption scandal, part of me wants to grab a gun and go to war." "But you don't." "No, Because I have something better now. He looks at her. I have you. I have this. And that's worth more than any war I could fight. Serafina leans her head against his shoulder. I'm proud of you. For what? For choosing to live instead of just survive. Lucian's arm wraps around her. I learned that from you. They sit there until the stars multiply and the night grows cold. Then they go inside. Together. Two people who fought their way through hell and came out the other side with something most people spend their whole lives searching for. Peace, purpose, and each other. And as Serafina drifts off to sleep that night, wrapped in Lucien's arms, she thinks about the girl who ran from a wedding in the rain. The girl who was terrified and alone and desperate. That girl is gone. She disappeared somewhere between the storage unit and the courtroom, and the moment Serafina decided to stop being a victim and start being a survivor. In her place is a woman who built a life worth living, who helps people find their way out of darkness, who learned that strength isn't about never being afraid. It's about being afraid and moving forward anyway. The night she ran from the cathedral wasn't the end of her story. It was the moment her real life began. And every day since has been a choice to keep living it. Not perfectly, not without scars, but wholly, completely, hers. Outside, the wind rustles through the vineyard, the vines heavy with fruit, the earth rich with promise. And somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbles. But Serafina doesn't flinch. She's not afraid of storms anymore. She's learned how to dance in the rain.